something just changed in Britney Spears' career. And no, this doesn't feel dramatic, it feels final. Now, Britney Spears has now said in her own words that she will never perform in America again. Not taking a break, not maybe someday, never. And when a woman who's been dragged back on stage her entire life says never, that's not a phase, that's a verdict. Now, at first, fans brushed it off. Another rumor, another misunderstood post. Just Britney being Britney. But then the receipts came out, and suddenly this didn't feel exaggerated or emotional, it felt bleak. Because if this really is the end of Britney performing in America, this isn't a comeback delayed, it's a warning flare. You see, for decades, America wasn't just where Britney performed, it's where she was built, consumed, controlled, and eventually broken. Vegas residencies designed to squeeze every drop out of her. World tours with no off switch. Award shows that clap for her while questioning her sanity. Public breakdowns turned into primetime entertainment, and Britney didn't just entertain America, America owned her image, and now she's saying she's done being property. And let's be honest about the timing. This comes after weeks of viral backlash over Britney's Instagram dance videos. Not concern, ridicule. Embarrassing, unhinged, someone take her phone. Which is rich, considering this is the same country that cheered when she was a teenager and is now laughing at her for being a grown woman trying to feel free. Now, fans notice something chilling. Every time Britney tries to express herself publicly, America responds with judgment. Every movement gets analyzed, every emotion analyzed as well. Every moment of independence gets treated like a problem that needs fixing. So here's the part no one wants to say out loud. Britney Spears does not trust the American entertainment machine anymore, and why on earth should she? This is the industry that worked her as a minor, controlled her money, medicated her, stripped her of her anatomy, and then called her crazy for reacting like a human being. Now, that's not instability, that is cause and effect. So when Britney says she'll never perform in America again, it doesn't sound impulsive. It sounds exhausted. It sounds like someone who finally realized that survival means distance. Now, online reactions have been brutal and emotional. Fans are openly saying that this could be the final chapter of Britney's American career, not because she can't perform, but because she refuses to be consumed again. And that's what hurts the most. Britney isn't quitting music, she's quitting us. And this isn't just about Britney Spears. This is about how America treats its icons, especially women. We build them up, overwork them, break them in public, and then act shocked when they walk away. Britney doesn't owe America a stage. America already took enough from her. So if Britney never performs in America again, understand this. This isn't a tantrum, it's not drama. It's a boundary. And maybe the most heartbreaking part of all of this, the country that made her a star is the same one she no longer wants to stand in front of. Now, let me know what you think. Is this self-protection or the end of something America didn't deserve to keep? Britney Spears is blowing through millions like it's monopoly money. And nobody, not her family, not her advisors, can stop her. Loved ones are panicking, and the internet, well, they're having a field day. Now, let's talk the facts. Britney made tens of millions of dollars last year. Yeah, tens. But she's burning through it like it's confetti at a New Year's Eve party. Reporters say it's fast, public, and completely uncontrolled. The IRS, probably sweating. Family, seriously alarmed. Friends, maybe considering witness protection, and subtly, forget it. Britney is out here posting videos, making out with mystery men like it's a TikTok challenge. Girl, the restraint left the building years ago, probably right after the Bangs incident. Now, the public sightings, iconic. Britney leaving a wine bar with a champagne flute like she's the mayor of Party Town. But the internet, it's in meltdown mode. Half the fans are cheering, and the other half are clutching pearls, and the rest are live tweeting every sip. The spectacle is so loud you could hear it across the planet. And Britney, Britney, well, she's smirking, living her absolute truth. If chaos were an Olympic sport, she'd have a gold medal, a trophy, and a sponsorship deal. Now, her family is panicking. Sources say loved ones are seriously alarmed by her spending, posting, and life choices. The advisors are probably pulling their hair out. Paris Hilton tried to check in, saying Britney's doing really good. But, sweetie, blowing $40 million in a year and posting it publicly is not doing really good. It's a full-scale, headline-grabbing meltdown. Reality check, the girl is a headline factory, and chaos is basically her business plan. And here's the kicker. She isn't broke. She made $40 million last year alone, but her spending, it's wild, unsupervised, and utterly performative. Every dollar she drops is basically a public spectacle. She's proof that money doesn't buy discretion, it buys a show, complete with popcorn and a front row seat for the internet. Britney's living the ultimate cautionary tale, reckless, untamed, and entirely unapologetic. Now, social media is brutal. Every post is dissected, memed, and turned into 1,000 hot takes. And Britney, well, she doesn't even flinch. It's like watching a masterclass on how to be chaotic and get paid for it. Every like, every comment, every share fuels the circus, and she's the ringleader. The internet can't look away, and honestly, neither can I. And let's be real, half of this chaos is on purpose. Britney knows exactly what she's doing. She's the ultimate adult toddler, throwing money, posting wild videos, and watching the world freak out while she sips champagne. The family calls, ignored. The advisors screaming, ignored. Fans gasping, ignored. She's basically saying, thank you for your concern, now go watch me implode in real time.
The Kardashians' evil secret involving Britney Spears just leaked, and it's messier than you think. Let's dig into it. You think you know the Kardashians, but the internet just dug up a story that has people side-eyeing Kim harder than a reality show reunion special, because long before the billion-dollar empire, the private jets, and the I woke up like this glam squads, Kim Kardashian was out here playing fame, chess, and Britney Spears was apparently one of the pieces on the board. So here's what Kim openly admitted in an interview, laughing like she just confessed to sneaking snacks into a movie theater, except this was about launching herself into the celebrity stratosphere. Now, back in the early 2000s, Kim was in New York with a friend when they actually found out Britney Spears was staying at a hotel nearby. Britney at that time, well, she was untouchable. I mean, she was like mega famous, paparazzi gold. If she blinked, it was front page news. And Kim, she was still climbing, still hustling, still trying to become Kim Kardashian. So instead of just minding their business like regular humans do, they saw an opportunity and ran with it. Kim says they basically staged a moment so paparazzi would think they were connected to Britney. So they got themselves dropped off in a flashy car, positioned themselves outside the hotel, and then actually waited for cameras to start snapping. When photographers shouted questions about Britney, Kim didn't exactly rush to clear things up. She let the assumption hang in the air, and then boom, the photos ran because, of course they did. Covers, headlines, attention, basically exactly everything she wanted. She later joked that they had kind of scanned the system and thought they were like so sick with it, essentially. And listen, from like a pure hustle standpoint, it worked, right? I mean, no one can deny that at all. Kim turned, attention into an empire. That's not luck, that's really strategy. But here's why people online are so heated. Britney Spears wasn't just some random celebrity, name to drop for clout. She was a young woman under extreme media pressure, being chased, mocked, photographed nonstop, and heading towards, one of the most publicly dissected breakdowns in pop culture history. So hearing that someone casually used the Britney frenzy as a stepping stone, yeah, it kind of hits a little different now, right? What might have felt like a little cheeky Hollywood move back then now feels to a lot of people kind of cold and opportunistic, which it is, like using someone else's, wildfire to light your own candle. And the irony is wild because fast forward to recent years and the Kardashians and Britney have been seen being very friendly, smiling for photos, acting like everything's cute and cozy, laying in bed together. We've seen that recently. Meanwhile, the internet is in the back going, wait, does Britney know she was a part of this origin story? So some fans are defending Kim, saying this is just how Hollywood works. Visibility is currency. I said that before, and if you don't create moments, you disappear. And honestly, they're not wrong. The industry has always rewarded the bold, the shameless, and the camera ready. But others are like, there's a big difference between networking and strategically attaching yourself to someone else's spotlight without them even being part of the plan. And that's where the evil label people are throwing around comes from. Not evil like cartoon villain, twirling a a mustache, but evil like ruthless ambition with zero sentimental attachments. I mean, the kind of move that says, sorry babe, it's not personal, it's branding. So the question is, how do you feel about it in 2026? Knowing what Britney went through, knowing how brutal that era of paparazzi culture was, and realizing that while one woman was spiraling under the pressure, another was figuring out how to ride the wave and benefit off of it. So was this just a clever come up, or, was it a glimpse at how far some people will go to get famous, even if it means using someone else's kind of chaos as a launch pad? Fans are begging Britney Spears to get help, and that sentence alone should make everyone uncomfortable because it says more about us than it does about her. Every time Britney posts a video, the internet reacts like it's, a live emergency room. Comment sections fill up with concern, panic, theories, armchair diagnosis, and that familiar phrase, someone needs to help her. And while some of that concern is genuine, a lot of it feels invasive, loud, entitled, like people forget she's a human being and not a reality show cliffhanger. Let's be clear about one thing right off the top. Britney Spears does not owe us wellness updates. She does not owe us calm, coherence, or, anything else. She doesn't owe us anything beyond what she chooses to share. And yet, because she's Britney, millions of people feel personally invested in her mental state, as if her piece is, a public utility. Here's where it gets complicated though. Britney has been through things that would break most people, decades of nonstop scrutiny, being, sensualized as a teenager, losing control of her own body, money, and life under conservatorship that lasted 13 years. That wasn't just restrictive, it was traumatic. And trauma doesn't evaporate just because a court order ends. So when people say she's acting strange, the better question might be, compared to what? Compared to the version of Britney that was carefully packaged, media trained, and controlled, because that version wasn't freedom, that was survival. There's also, this dangerous assumption floating around that healing is supposed to look quiet, neat, Instagram approved. We expect people to process pain in a way that makes us comfortable. And when they don't, we label it concerning. But healing can be very messy. Healing can be very loud. Healing can look like experimentation, regression, confusion, expression, and yes, sometimes chaos, especially for someone who is denied, autonomy for most of their adult life. That said, and this matters, concern isn't inherently wrong. Wanting someone to be safe isn't the problem. The problem is when concern turns into surveillance, when compassion turns into control, when help starts sounding a lot like, you're not behaving the way I want you to. People forget that forced help isn't help. Britney knows that better than anyone. There's also the uncomfortable reality that the internet doesn't actually want her well. It wants her, legible, like it wants her predictable, it wants reassurance. And when it doesn't get that, it panics. Think about it. If Britney were posting perfectly curated photos, smiling politely and saying all the right things, the same people would be applauding her strength and resilience. But because she's expressing herself in a way that doesn't follow the script, suddenly everyone's, a crisis expert. And let's not ignore the hypocrisy, because the same culture that chewed her up in the early 2000s is now pretending to be her guardian angels. The same media machine that profited off her breakdown is now asking if she's okay, with ads running right next to, the articles. Concern shouldn't be performative, it shouldn't be loud, and it definitely shouldn't be public spectacle. Britney has access to resources, she has people in her life, and most importantly, she has the right to decide what help looks like for her. Real support respects autonomy and it doesn't demand compliance. So maybe the question isn't whether Britney needs help, maybe the question is why so many people feel entitled to decide that for her, publicly, relentlessly, and without boundaries. Britney spent years being controlled for her own good. Watching people, recreate that dynamic under the guise of concern should give everybody pause. She doesn't need saving by strangers. What she really needs right now is space, dignity, and the same grace we'd want if our healing played out in front of the entire world. Britney Spears is absolutely furious with ex and baby daddy K-Fed. He's exposed all her dark secrets in his new memoir. All right, buckle up because Britney Spears is fuming, and this time it's over something totally predictable. Her ex, Kevin Federline, writing a memoir. Yeah, the man who made an entire generation ask, wait, he's still around? Decided now's the perfect time to spill what he calls the truth about their marriage. Britney was blindsided completely. She had zero warning that Kevin was digging through the skeletons of their past for everyone to see. And the reaction? Well, furious doesn't even cover it. We're talking ready to lawyer up, fire in her eyes fury. People close to her say she's terrified this book could actually throw her back into the spotlight for all the wrong reasons, personal pain, family drama, private struggles, all ready for public consumption. And let's talk timing because it's wild. Her last child support check to Kevin went out in November 2024. Months later, suddenly he's, a memoir author. I mean, that's suspicious. Doesn't even begin to cover that. So insiders are side-eyeing the move, saying he's been silent for years, but suddenly wants to, tell his side once the checks stop coming. Classic. Well, Britney's been on a healing streak, reconnecting with her sons, reclaiming her life, speaking her truth. She finally gets to write her own story, and here comes Kevin, waving a little pen around like it's a magic wand to erase her narrative. Naturally, she's considering legal action, trying to block certain parts or at least keep him from exposing the really private stuff. Kevin's framing the memoir as an honest and raw kind of memoir about fatherhood, heartbreak, and his life, but fans, well, they're already roasting him online, especially when he calls himself a household name. Like, sweetie, the household name came because you married Britney Spears, not because you invented your own brand of genius. Yikes. Let's not forget, Britney's already done the memoir thing in 2023 with The Woman in Me. She spilled it all: conservatorship horrors, postpartum struggles, married Kevin, the whole messy saga. She owned her story. Now Kevin wants to rewrite it. Bold. It's honestly really bold. This is more than a book. It's a battle for control. Who tells the story, who shapes the narrative, and who gets to be remembered for this messy chapter of pop history? Well, will Britney shut him down before the world reads his version of the truth? Or will Kevin score a few social media claps while everyone drags him mercilessly? Either way, grab the popcorn because this drama is about to get really messy, and let's be honest, the internet is here for it. Is Britney Spears crying out for attention? Fans are starting to think so. Britney Spears just posted another one of those videos that makes the entire internet collectively lean closer to their screens and whisper, "Girl, are you okay?" Because this one didn't feel like a cute little dance moment. This felt like a soft launch of emotional chaos wrapped in glitter, leopard print, and unresolved feelings. Now, Britney shows up on Instagram dancing in a leopard bodysuit to Adele's "Send My Love to Your New Lover" song. It's already dramatic, but then she pairs that video with a caption that starts off light, talking about, not finding a party dress, reflecting on the year, the usual, new me, new energy vibe, cool, normal, we're relaxed, everything's all good. But then the energy free falls straight into darkness. Suddenly she's talking about suffering, darkness, pain, sacrifice, rare beauty being born out of ugliness. It went from like, what outfit should I wear, to, I have stared into the abyss and the abyss stared back in 2 sentences. It was honestly like emotional whiplash. Then she gets even deeper and darker and starts talking about the inner child in her and how, people grow into women but lose their most sensitive parts, and how that inner child needs to rebel and speak during vulnerable moments. And listen, those are not the words of someone just casually vibing on a Tuesday afternoon. That's like diary level energy. That's candlelit soul searching at like 3 a.m. energy. And I know because I've done that. And just when you think, okay, wow, this is super raw, emotional breakthrough, she switches gears again and casually says she can't even look at food after Thanksgiving because she cheated, she was bad, and it felt so good. Forgive me, Father, I'm sorry. Like, that's what she wrote. What? Like, we just went from, spiritual suffering to Thanksgiving leftovers. Like, we didn't just emotionally spiral for 2 full paragraphs. This is why people don't know how to take her on anymore. It's not that she's dancing, it's not the outfits, it's the emotional gear shifting at like crazy warp speed. 1 second it's reflection, the next second it's darkness, the next second it's Adele's heartbreak revenge energy, then it's stuffing and forgiveness. Here's where it gets even messier. About 12 hours after that, the original heavy caption disappears. It was gone, vanished, replaced with a lighter one about feeling pretty in a bathing suit and looking for Mary Jane shoes. That's it. No explanation, no follow-up, no, I was in my feelings earlier, just straight back to sparkle mode like the emotional breakdown never happened. So, when people say the latest video looks like a cry for attention, here's the uncomfortable truth. It kind of does. Not in a malicious way, but in a very human, very unfiltered, I need to be seen and I don't know how else to say it kind of way. Britney doesn't post like other celebrities. There's no polish, no PR smoothing, no strategic branding. It's raw, it's impulsive, it's emotional, and that's exactly why it hits so hard every time. And that's why it makes people uneasy at the same time, because what makes Britney post feel like it's always a cry for attention. It's not the dancing, it's the contrast, it's the emotional oversharing followed by immediate emotional erasing. It's the vulnerability followed by performance. It's the depth followed by distraction. That constant flip-flopping is what keeps people watching and also worrying. So, I'm not here to diagnose anyone. I'm not here to villainize her, and I'm definitely not here to shame someone for being emotional, but I am here to call it what it looks like. I mean, this video didn't feel like joy. It felt like noise over pain. At this point, the saddest part isn't even the speculation. It's the fact that the world no longer knows when to take her seriously and when to treat it like entertainment. And that's a very dangerous place for any human being to exist in, living in this gray zone between concern and consumption. Let's recap on the times this year that Britney Spears lost control. If there's one thing Britney Spears is going to do in 2025, it's remind the world that freedom is messy, chaotic, deeply entertaining, and sometimes looks like a deleted scene from Euphoria. And honestly, I support women's rights and women's wrongs because this year, Britney didn't just go off the rails, she built her own custom track, lit it on fire, and danced through the sparks barefoot in low-rise shorts. So let's talk about every moment she had us clutching our phones like, oh God, what did she post this time? First up, the kitchen weapon dancing saga expanded edition. Just when we thought we'd seen the last of Britney clacking around her marble floors like a hibachi chef on Red Bull, she came back with new choreography, a new playlist, and those sharp kitchen utensils that look significantly less fake this time. Now, the internet was like, Queen, please. And Britney was like, I'll spin if I want to. Honestly, she's unbothered, hydrated, and possibly a danger to fruit everywhere. Now, then we had the captions, you know the ones. I mean, the paragraphs that read like a ransom note written during a sugar crash. I mean, she'll start off with, hi guys, feeling blessed. And by the end, she's quoting Shakespeare, dragging her family, apologizing to no one, and threatening to move to Switzerland with a horse named Freedom. And we're all just kind of like in the comments like, girl, are you good? Like, she is not, and that's why we're here. Now, let's talk about the random men. Every few weeks, she'll upload a picture with a man who looks like he was hired off Cameo. No explanation, no intro, just Britney smiling like she won a raffle, and the guy kind of staring into the camera like he's being held hostage off screen. The internet goes full CSI, trying to, figure out who he is, what he wants, how long it'll be before he's posting selfies from her foyer. And now we have to mention the public meltdowns. Britney went out this year, and every single time the paparazzi acted like she escaped a zoo. She'll be at a restaurant minding her business, and next thing you know, she's running barefoot in the parking lot, yelling at someone, holding a purse that looks like it's carrying nothing but vibes. I mean, for the record, a lot of these, she went crazy in public stories started because people were filming her without consent, and she reacted like a normal person who's had one very long decade. Also, remember when she lit the cigarette on the airplane like it was 1976? Yeah, almost forgot about that one, didn't ya? But the crown jewel of Britney's 2025 chaos, the disappearing and reappearing Instagram posts and account. One minute she's telling the world she's quitting music, the next she's uploading a video twirling in her living room like she's auditioning for a tornado. She deletes everything, comes back with a poem, deletes it, posts it again with a different emoji. It's like watching someone speed run every emotional stage of a breakup at 3 a.m. The most recent unhinged moment, well, when she was reportedly seen exhibiting strange behavior at an eatery, like knocking over glasses, giving a bizarre toast before getting behind the wheel. A video that, of course, has since gone viral shows her driving in a chaotic manner, swerving suddenly, tailgating people, and driving into the wrong lanes a few times. It was so messy and very on brand though. And through all of this, let's not pretend the media wasn't lurking in the bushes waiting to call her unhinged. But here's the thing, Britney isn't really going crazy. She's living her unfiltered life after being controlled for 13 years. And yes, sometimes it looks like chaos, sometimes it sounds like chaos, sometimes it is chaos, but it's her chaos. And honestly, she's more interesting than like every perfectly curated celebrity combined. So whether she's twirling with weapons, writing novels in her captions, switching men like Wi-Fi networks, or just giving the paparazzi a new reason to clock in, I mean, Britney Spears is going to keep being Britney Spears, and for better or for worse, the internet will always be watching. Because say what you want, but nobody does unpredictable like the princess of pop. Britney Spears is clearly not okay, and fans are more concerned now than ever. Britney Spears is seriously in a rough spot, and her latest public move is raising all kinds of red flags. She was just photographed leaving a wine bar in LA, walking to her car while holding a full champagne flute. That's not normal. I mean, is it in LA? I have no clue, so y'all tell me. But anyway, her family is understandably panicking. Her team insisted she didn't actually drink that night, but walking around with a flute like she's in some bougie movie, I mean, either way, the optics are very troubling. In the photo, she's trying to lay low, big sunglasses, a white lace scarf draped over her head, a brown plaid kind of blazer, crop lace top, low-rise jeans, red lips, the whole, hide but look famous vibe. But despite her effort, paparazzi were there to catch every single moment, and she clapped back hard in an Instagram video. She called them incredibly mean and complained they always pick her worst photos. She said she can't go anywhere without being, harassed, calling the whole thing offensive. This is not just a one-off. According to insiders, this weird wine bar move is part of a pattern. There are recent reports that she's been driving dangerously, which we've seen, swerving, changing lanes, even crossing the center divider after nights out. Her loved ones are terrified. Some say she's losing control with behavior they describe as absolutely terrifying. Now, to make matters worse, her ex, Kevin Federline, released a memoir full of very heavy claims, stuff like, substance dependency issues and use while breastfeeding, as well as infidelity. I mean, whether or not you believe it, sources say the book hit Britney very hard. One insider told people she's spiraling and reopening those old wounds. Her family doesn't know what to do. Multiple sources say she stopped responding to texts, ignoring calls, and isn't even reading her DMs anymore. So it's like she's shutting the world out completely. And that isolation, I mean, her loved ones see it as very dangerous. Some are questioning whether there's anyone around her who actually has her back. One person said they're worried she's surrounded by people who don't have her best interest at heart. And another person asked the scary question, how do you protect someone when she's pushing everyone away? Britney's reaction to the scrutiny hasn't made things any calmer. In that Instagram rant, she sounded very raw, tired of being judged, angry at the paparazzi. She said she feels stalked and she's just simply fed up. So yeah, this isn't just headline drama. Britney walking out of a wine bar with a champagne glass isn't really cute. It might be a serious cry for help. Her family sees the danger, so do I, and if she doesn't let people in, this could get a lot worse. So we've got to ask, how bad does it have to get before somebody actually steps in? Britney Spears needs to get help ASAP, and before anyone starts yelling leave her alone, let me be very clear, this is not hate, this is not judgment, this is concern, real concern. Because what we've been watching lately is no longer just eccentric celebrity behavior or harmless internet chaos, it's erratic, unsettling, and harder to ignore. Over the past several weeks, Britney's social media has taken another sharp turn. Repeated dance videos that feel disconnected, captions that jump from topic to topic, posts going up and disappearing within hours, and an overall vibe that feels less like self-expression and more like someone unraveling in real time. Even people close to her, family members, insiders, people who actually know her, are reportedly deeply worried, not annoyed, not embarrassed, terrified. The word being used is terrified. That's not normal commentary about a pop star posting too much on Instagram. That's fear, which, somehow keeps getting darker instead of quieter. Kevin Federline's recent comments in Memoir claims brought Britney's kids back into the conversation, reopening wounds that never really healed. Britney responded publicly, accusing him of gaslighting her and profiting off her trauma. Because when someone is stable, they usually don't fight their most painful battles on Instagram. And let's talk about the fans for a second. This isn't Stan Twitter hyping her up. This isn't people laughing or cheering. Comment sections are full of people saying they're scared for her. Longtime fans saying they don't recognize her anymore, people begging her to log off, get grounded, and surround herself with real support. Not yes men, not opportunists, not people who profit from chaos. That should tell you something. I mean, we all celebrated when Britney got out of her conservatorship, rightfully so. What she went through was traumatic, controlling, and damaging, but freedom without structure, support, or healing doesn't magically fix trauma. Sometimes it exposes it, and I think that's what we're seeing now. Now, Britney looks unwell. Needing help does not mean losing losing freedom. It does not mean another conservatorship. It does not mean being silenced or controlled. Help can mean therapy, real therapy, consistent therapy, a trusted inner circle that actually says no sometimes, medical professionals who aren't afraid to step in when something feels off, because pretending everything is fine when it clearly isn't, that's how tragedies happen. Britney Spears is not a meme. She's not a spectacle. She's a human being who has been through public humiliation, industry exploitation, and personal trauma for decades. At some point, the world needs to stop clapping and start asking if she's actually safe. You can support her independence and still admit she might be spiraling. Those two things can be true at the same time. So Britney doesn't need people hyping every breakdown as iconic. She doesn't need the internet pretending this is empowerment. She needs grounding. She needs stability. She needs help, real help, before this goes somewhere irreversible. So no, this isn't drama. This is a warning. And the longer everyone pretends not to see it, the worse it actually gets. Britney Spears risked her life during a crazy wild night out, and fans are now deeply concerned. You know when someone says, "I did it again," you don't expect it to mean they nearly took out someone in a parking lot. But here we are, because Britney Spears just leveled up her oops game. A supposed fun night out in LA, lights flashing, cameras maybe watching, champagne possibly involved. Sounds cute and on mute, right? But nope, Britney gets behind the wheel and suddenly the vibe turns from girls' night out to Fast and Furious Breakdown Edition. So she hops into her sleek black BMW, and before anyone could say buckle up, she's seen veering into oncoming traffic, cutting across lanes, and nearly clipping a friend in the parking lot. Yeah, the friend, well, the one who probably thought the only risk that night was bad lighting and selfies. Now cue the internal meltdown. Fans are losing it. Comment sections are full of, "Is Britney okay? You know, and somebody take the keys," because when the pop princess becomes a public safety hazard, everyone turns into a very concerned parent with Wi-Fi, right? Now witnesses said she looked distracted following another car, swerving in and out of lanes, and at one point even putting something in her mouth while the car was moving. Nobody actually really knows what it was, and you can't really tell based off the footage, but let's just say it wasn't a great look for someone who's been under this much public scrutiny. It's giving chaos, and honestly, it's giving maybe just call an Uber next time. Of course, this all comes right on the heels of her ex, Kevin Federline, releasing a memoir spilling so-called truths about her, including claims about erratic behavior and mixing medication with alcohol, years ago. So naturally, people are connecting dots and assuming the worst. But honestly, you can't blame fans for being worried. Britney's been through, so much with the conservatorship, the nonstop headlines, the pressures of fame since she was basically a kid. I mean, you spend decades being controlled by everyone around you, and the moment you get your freedom back, it's very easy to swing too far in the other direction. But this isn't just some messy celeb moment. It's very dangerous, the kind of night that could have gone from TMZ headline to full-on tragedy. She didn't just risk her image, she literally risked her life. I mean, the truth is, people love Britney, we grew up on her, we still root for her. But this was scary, and not iconic, toxic scary. This was like real, literal toxic scary. And the fact that it's come to this, it's sad, not savage. And what Britney needs right now, it's not another paparazzi circus or an online pity party. She needs peace and a real break. The kind of night where the wildest thing is maybe karaoke and the only thing spinning is the disco ball, not her car. Because at this point, Britney risked her life, shouldn't actually be a headline. It should be a warning sign that maybe, just maybe the world's most famous comeback queen needs a real timeout before she burns out completely. So yeah, fans are worried, and honestly, rightfully so, because if Britney's life were a music video right now, we'd all be praying this scene cuts before the crash. Breaking Britney news, she's got brain damage, and it's bad. So apparently Britney Spears just dropped a bomb on Instagram, and it's not another dance video or a cryptic caption about, freedom or whatnot. Nope. Britney said she's suffering from brain damage. Yeah, like actual words from her mouth. Brain damage happened to me a long time ago. That's what she said. Now, she posted a picture of herself on horseback, very, riding off into my healing era, and compared herself to Maleficent, saying she felt like her wings were stolen. Then she said the part that made everyone stop scrolling, that she's 100% sure brain damage happened to her years ago. She's talking about the time that she was locked in a facility back in 2018 during her conservatorship. So, she said she was isolated for months with, no freedom, no privacy, couldn't even close her door or take a bath alone. And she said, that during that time, her logic and mindfulness in her body as one was kind of basically destroyed. Now, in her words, she couldn't move, couldn't dance, couldn't even feel connected to her own body anymore. That's when she says it all happened, when the damage was done. And if you've followed Britney's story for a long time now, you know that's not really far-fetched. I mean, the conservatorship lasted 13 full years. 13 years of being told what to do, what not to do, where to go, where not to go, what to eat, what not to eat, and even, when to even perform. I mean, imagine being one of the most famous women in the world and still not having control over your entire life. Now, people are asking what exactly she meant. Is she talking about literal brain damage, like neurological trauma, or is she talking about emotional and, psychological damage from years of being controlled and silenced? It's almost the whole was she silent or was she silenced? But honestly, maybe it's both. Britney's always used very poetic language, but when someone says brain damage happened to me, you don't just brush that off. That's a big deal. And of course, this is happening right as her ex, Kevin Federline, is out here with his memoir, throwing around all kinds of personal stories. I mean, the timing is honestly so messy, but Britney didn't sound like she was trying to stir drama or anything. She just sounded like she was trying to process what exactly happened to her. She also said she's moved on and feels blessed to be alive, which, coming from someone who's survived everything she has, that hits hard. It's raw, it's vulnerable, and it's the kind of thing that reminds you that, behind all of the chaos, all of the tabloid noise, there is still a human being who's been through hell and back and is somehow still standing, still dancing, knives or not. Now, the internet, of course, is very split. Some people are genuinely concerned. Others are mocking her, which sucks and, is exactly the kind of thing that probably broke her in the first place. So yeah, let's stop doing that. Britney's not crazy. She's just traumatized, and trauma doesn't disappear just because a judge signs a paper and says you're free to go. I mean, the truth is Britney has always been both, the performer and the product. And when the product starts talking about the damage that comes with being owned, controlled, and displayed for decades, people don't know how to handle it. But maybe that's the point. Maybe Britney's trying to show us that, the system we built to worship her is the same one that broke her. So whether she meant literal or emotional brain damage, it doesn't even matter, because either way, she's saying she's not the same person she was before it all, and something in her changed forever. And yet she's still here, still dancing, still posting, still smiling, and trying to live her life. I mean, maybe those aren't breakdowns. Maybe they're her way of taking back control. So Britney Spears says she's suffering from brain damage, but maybe what she's really saying is, I survived it. And after everything that's been done to her, that might be the most powerful statement she's ever made. Something dark is going on with Britney Spears, and honestly, it's starting to look less like quirky Britney and more like everyone around her is quietly panicking. People close to her are saying this latest situation might be one of the scariest they've ever seen, and it all exploded right after Kevin Federline decided to drop his tell-all memoir. Because of course he did, filled with every messy accusation he could cash in on. And apparently Britney did not take that very well. Here's what actually went down. Britney was out at a restaurant in Thousand Oaks, and witnesses say she did not look okay. She was unsteady, knocking things over, dropping stuff, her top slipping off her shoulder. The whole vibe was like Hollywood chaos, but without, the paparazzi flashbulbs to blame. She was in flip-flops, ordered a quesadilla, made a random toast to the entire restaurant. It sounded like a fun girls' night until you realize everyone around her was quietly terrified. Her friend tried guiding her out, gently steering her towards the car, like, let's go home before this becomes TMZ Live. But Britney got into her black BMW anyway, even though the friend begged her not to drive. And what happened next had people thinking this could have gone way, way worse. She allegedly started swerving, tailgating people, crossing in oncoming lanes, and while looking agitated and gesturing wildly. I mean, imagine driving behind that and realizing that's Britney Spears in the driver's seat. Witnesses said it was genuinely scary. When she finally pulled up to her gated neighborhood, she couldn't get inside. She sat there for 20 minutes trying to enter the gate code, backing up, driving forward, trying again, like she suddenly forgot where she lived. Her friends stayed in the car, probably wondering if they should call someone. I mean, eventually she got in, but everyone who saw it said the same thing. This wasn't normal Britney behavior. This was a breakdown unfolding in real time. And people close to her think Kevin Federline's, book triggered it. He made a bunch of dark claims about her past, substance dependency issues, emotional instability, reality, even a disturbing story about her allegedly watching their kids sleep while holding a sharp object. And whether you believe his details or not, it clearly hit nerves that hadn't healed. Ever since the conservatorship ended in 2021, fans have cheered her freedom, but her inner circle? Well, they're worried she's losing control without any structure or support. I mean, she's posted those very unsettling dance videos, the weapon videos, the nude clips, the random rants, and every time people comment Queen of Chaos, her friends are apparently thinking this is not cute, this is alarming. Her family is reportedly terrified. Some of them are whispering about whether a guardianship needs to come back, even though no one wants to open that door again. I mean, it's complicated, it's traumatic, and it would be a PR nightmare, but the alternative might be worse. Insiders say Britney has basically disappeared from social media, not because she's suddenly calm and centered, but because the scrutiny is too triggering, and the people who love her are frustrated because she refuses therapy, refuses consistent mental health care, and shuts out almost anyone who tries to step in. There is one person she still trusts though, and that's Cade Hudson. He's become her unofficial gatekeeper, the person you have to go through if you want access to her. Even if, he seems overwhelmed, he's the only one she listens to at all. He even joined in her little slumber party at the Kardashian house the other week. So here's the real question. How do you help someone who doesn't think they need help? Well, her friends don't know, her family doesn't know, man, even me, a self-proclaimed psychic, doesn't know. And the public doesn't see the full picture. I mean, what's happening right now isn't just a messy PR moment, it feels dark, it feels dangerous. And if the people around her are this scared, maybe the situation is a lot more serious than anyone wants to admit. So what do you think?
Pretend. Rehabilitation. Oh baby, baby, how was she supposed to know that substances don't end very well? Britney is famous for many things, her voice, her missing hair, and now her freedom. But one of her tamer media scandals came in 2007 following a long night of rage-fueled menacing. She checked herself into a rehab facility. She had recently divorced from her background dancer slash husband, Kevin Federline, and apparently was not taking the situation well. As we know now, there was a massive amount of media and public involvement with the divorce. The entire thing was basically documented for everyone to see. I still remember Britney's bald head on my TV screen at the age of 6 because my sister just loved TMZ. According to her manager at the time, the messy divorce combined with the public shame that she was feeling, the decision was made to check herself into a rehabilitation facility somewhere in Los Angeles. She stayed in the facility for 30 days before being released back into the wild, but despite that stint, things did not get better, and her family life especially was next to suffer. Number 9. The 2007 VMAs. The MTV Video Music Awards have been host to some of the most confrontational and dramatic moments in music history. Nicki Minaj famously called out host Miley Cyrus when she took the stage to accept an award. Kanye West interrupted Taylor Swift's acceptance speech to tell people that he was happy for Taylor, but that Beyonce had one of the best videos of all time. Yeah, I know he goes by Ye now, but I don't care. When Britney Spears took to the stage at the 2007 VMAs, fans were happy to see her on her feet as the media made it seem like she had been going down a dark path, which she was. She appeared on stage sporting a blonde wig, which was obvious to anyone who was aware of the head shaving incident a few months prior. She started singing in the most under-enthusiastic way ever, and while her background dancers are giving it their all, it looks like Britney's just stumbling around the stage with little to no idea what's going on. She even attempted to lip-sync her songs, but she failed miserably, barely coming close to what she needed to do. The performance, which was her last before taking her hiatus from performing, will live forever on the internet for the world to see, and was actually parodied in the final moments of the comedy Disaster Movie, which is the most random piece of cinema I have ever seen in my life. Number 8. Public Family Feud. Britney is just like anyone else. She brushes her teeth in the morning, she goes to bed at night, and she constantly fights with her family, like non-stop. Now you guys don't do that? Okay, I'm just gonna make a phone call. Britney wasn't born into a typical happy family life. In fact, quite the opposite. Her parents struggled to make ends meet, her father was an avid consumer of the no-no juice, and an aggressive presence in her life. According to Britney's mom, her daughter urged her to leave her husband several times over the years after seeing her suffer years and years of verbal mistreatment. Throughout her rise to fame, her father was primarily kept out of her life until 2007 when she was placed under a conservatorship, which means means that a court decided that she was unfit to control her own finances, so they placed her father in charge, because he had such a great track record. Over the 13 years she was under the conservatorship, it's estimated that her father stole $5 million from his own daughter. She famously fought with her sister Jamie Lynn, who was the star of a Nickelodeon show called Zoe 101, until outside life caused her to take a break from the acting world to be a mama. The paparazzi was able to capture lots of juicy pics of Britney yelling at her family, blowing up every single aspect they could of it. She eventually patched things up with her sister in 2019, but the jury is still out on her relationship with her dad. Number 7. Marrying a background dancer. Britney's love life has been anything but straight and narrow. Over her life she's had many men come and go, never seeming to find the right fit for her lifestyle. In 2006, Britney married a man named Kevin Federline after meeting one fateful night in a nightclub. After spending 1 week together, Britney invited Kevin to join her world tour, where he acted as both her lover and a background dancer. They described meeting as love at first sight. Kevin spotted her from across the room and felt an instant connection. A magnet appeared in front of them like a cartoon and it just drew them together. The paparazzi couldn't get enough of these two. While they were seemingly in a genuine relationship, they made it seem like the couple were the most chaotic in the world. Their union was a media massacre. They were so stoked to see this relationship either crash and burn or, well, yeah, they just wanted it to crash and burn. After less than a year together, the couple filed for divorce, apparently citing constant fighting as their main issue. Not long after, Britney went on her famous meltdown, so needless to say she did not take the breakup very well. Number 6. Smacked herself. This is a more recent scandal with Miss Spears. Recently, Britney was in the most peaceful and godlike city in the world, Las Vegas, Nevada, when she spotted the NBA player Victor Wembanyama at a hotel, and I'm very sorry if I mispronounced that name. According to the police reports and the recently released security video, Britney tapped Vic on his back and shoulder in an attempt to get his attention. This is when his security team had reportedly backhanded her, causing the whole situation in the first place. Britney claimed that the security detail laid their hands on her, but the reality was the security team's ninja-like reflexes caused them to accidentally push her back towards herself, inadvertently slapping herself across the face. The funny thing with that situation is just how hard she was convinced that someone else had hit her. Like she didn't feel her own hand touch her face. That'd be like me standing here right now and going, "Hey, who did that? Chris, is that you?" That's the camera guy, he never gets a shout out. With the footage now not only proving her guilt, but her misremembering of the situation, many are beginning to question if Britney was all there during the situation. Just saying, the only time I forget stuff that significant is after a couple of trips to my deck, if you know what I mean. Number 5. The meltdown. As many people know, Britney began a downward spiral health-wise in 2007. After her divorce from Kevin Federline, she not only shaved her head, but she went on a rage-fueled rampage across the city, taking down anyone in her path. After being swarmed by photographers at a gas station in LA, she went on a rampage wielding an umbrella and swinging it over and over at one of their cars, attempting to smash their window. She also hurled expletives at anyone and everyone with a camera, eventually launching the umbrella towards the crowd. This was the main incident that landed her in a psychiatric hold. Fun fact about that umbrella used in the incident, it was auctioned off for $7,000 online, and I cannot wait for it to show up. All my life savings on that thing. I hope there's still some broken glass on it. Number 4. Accidentally released birthday suit pics. Birthday suits, a term which originated in Germany as a term for the clothes that you are born in, which is none. Britney accidentally exposed her birthday suit in 2022 when she posted a series of photos to her Instagram of herself holding her new puppy. While it may not seem outside the realm of reality for anyone who is a hardcore Britney fan, to everyone else, she just exposed herself on one of the most used social media platforms in the world. The photos were later deleted after a series of negative comments and messages began bombarding her inbox. Nothing ever came of this, but just let this entry be a reminder to never post a picture of yourself holding a puppy in your birthday suit. Hold a bearded dragon or a snake or something, make yourself look edgy. Number 3. Weird TikToks. This entry isn't a scandal per se, but it certainly needs to be mentioned. Fans rejoiced when the hashtag #FreeBritney finally worked and she was released from her conservatorship in 2021. Since being released, fans were expecting her to possibly release some more music, or maybe even appear as a judge on a new reality show. Instead, what she has been up to is making some of the weirdest and hardest to watch TikToks on the planet. If you follow her account unironically, I do apologize, but this entry is probably not for you. Britney regularly posts videos of herself staring into the camera and dancing. Now, while this is the basis for the platform, she has this blank, lifeless stare when she does it, like she's peering directly into your soul. I've only ever witnessed a handful of these clips, but every time I do, I'm just reminded of how strange and unnerving the internet can be sometimes. Aren't you glad that you popped by this little slice of internet heaven? Click that like button if you are. Number 2. She shaved her head. In 2007, aka Britney's glory year, she famously posted a video of herself holding clippers in a barber's chair, missing most of her hair. Not all of it though, she looked a little bit like the dude from Brothers Grimm. If you haven't seen that movie, that is Heath Ledger's best performance, okay? A documentary about Britney's life was released in 2019 called Britney Spears Breaking Point. In the doc, she revealed the true story behind her shaving of the head. Following a brief stint in a rehab facility in Antigua, Britney fled to see her sons, who had been living with her ex Kevin. Of course, when she turned up at their doorstep and not at the facility that she was supposed to be in, Kevin refused to let her see the kids and sent her away. This led her to driving to Los Angeles to the salon where she shaved her head. The person who cut her hair kept it and quickly attempted to auction it off for $1 million, which sounds crazy, but you know that there are some weirdos out there who would have called that a bargain. Following the shaving, she made her way to a tattoo parlor where the artist asked her what happened to her hair, and Britney's response was, "I was just tired of people touching it. I just don't want people to touch my hair." This was an incident that eventually got Britney placed under the conservatorship, which she was released from in 2021, thankfully. Speaking of which, number 1, conservatorship. Britney's father was a dark cloud in her life, doing nothing but making everything harder for his daughter. Despite initially taking a back seat while she rose to fame, a court ruled in 2007 that she was unfit to control her own finances and granted that power instead to her father, who was a no-no juice enthusiast with a sweet tooth for expensive things. After the second time she was admitted to the hospital for psychiatric assessment, the financial power was thrust onto her father, who managed her money very well. I'm just kidding, he's a trash bag and he spent a lot of money that he didn't have. Her father reportedly stole $5 million from his daughter over the 13-year conservatorship, spending it on everything from vacations and boats to houses and cars, all wasted by Jamie. Financial woes were not the only problem that came with the conservatorship. According to a court report from 2019, Britney was unable to get married or have children under the conservatorship, which is, disgusting. Just so gross. I don't care how crazy you are or unstable. If you want to get married, you go do it. Plus, what would have happened if she had a baby anyway? Like, oh, I'm sorry, ma'am, you actually can't have that. You're too crazy for one of those, and I'm gonna have to confiscate that contraband. Thankfully, the conservatorship ended in 2021, and Britney is free to be her weird, wild self. If you need any proof, just check out the TikTok. Seriously, it's just...
And at number 10, Britney bribed her parents' divorce. One of the most shocking revelations from Jamie Lynn's book and interviews was the fact that her parents never had the perfect marriage, and their father Jamie struggled with alcohol issues while they were young. This caused his behavior to be unpredictable when they were growing up, and it put a huge strain on their children. Because of the toxic relationship, Britney told her mother she would buy her a house if she divorced Jamie, her father. Her mother did this, got the house and the divorce, and then her father basically lived at the house anyway. Jamie Lynn says their dad was there the first night that the women moved into the new house. Jamie Lynn didn't know how to act. She was so young, she was knowing her sister's wishes, but seeing her mother staying with this man, she was angry, upset, and didn't know which side to take. And at number 9, barefoot in a gas station bathroom. In 2004, Britney made the strange decision to go barefoot into a sketchy bathroom, and the media questioned her cleanliness ever since that incident. While at a gas station in Ventura, California, Britney needed to use the bathroom and decided to just use one at the gas station. Her fiancé Kevin Federline was waiting in the car for her when paparazzi snapped her walking into the unisex bathroom with bare feet. Yup, that's right. Britney decided to use a unisex gas station bathroom with no shoes on. I feel like it would honestly be hard to find any celebrity that would be okay with using a gas station bathroom in general. After that, the media exploded questioning her hygiene, and I'm sure she regrets how much media attention that small moment got. But at the end of the day, if she feels fine going barefoot, who are we to judge? And at number 8, Jamie Lynn's terrifying experience. In her new book, Jamie Lynn describes a terrifying event with her sister that sheds light on the struggles that Britney was facing at that time. She wrote, quote, "One time she said to me, 'Baby, I'm scared,' and took a large knife from the kitchen, pulled me along to my room, and she locked us both inside. She put the weapon in the bedside table drawer and simply repeated, 'I'm scared.' She needed me to sleep beside her." Jamie Lynn describes how scared she was during that incident and claims she experienced panic attacks after that. Britney responded to the shocking allegations on Twitter, denying that the event ever happened. Britney wrote, quote, "I've never been around you with a knife, or would I ever think to do such."
Neither parent has made a statement about which sister is telling the truth. In at number 7, Jason Alexander wedding. One of Britney's most controversial moments was when she decided to get married to her childhood friend in Vegas, clearly an impulsive move. Her sister Jamie Lynn gave more details surrounding this event in her book, and Jamie Lynn said she could sense that something was wrong when Britney came home for the holidays. Jamie Lynn describes Britney coming home for the holidays and acting very strange. Britney allegedly met up with Alexander on Christmas Eve before she took the women in the family on a tropical vacation. She wrote, quote, "Immediately I noticed that Britney was being secretive and keeping her distance. She wanted to be anywhere but with us. I was particularly hurt by her shunning." After the family got back from the trip, Britney flew to Vegas with friends, and Jamie Lynn knew something bad was going to happen. Jamie Lynn even remembers telling Britney not to get married. Then Britney just rolled her eyes and told her that she wouldn't. But as we know, just hours later, Britney would in fact marry him. Jamie Lynn admitted she was embarrassed by the whole fiasco, though to keep up appearances she pretended at the time it was blown out of proportion. She added, "At that point, the chaos of my sister's life was just beginning." In at number 6, driving with infant on lap. In 2006, there was another incident with Britney and her new baby that actually caused the police to show up at her home to check on them. Paparazzi snapped Britney at a Malibu Starbucks driving out of the parking lot with her baby, Sean Preston, in her lap. This is not only illegal but very scary, as infants must ride in car seats to be as safe as possible on the road. When asked later about the incident, she blamed aggressive paparazzi. The paparazzi made her pull out quickly because she felt threatened. But the police did not care about this explanation, and the LA County Sheriff's Department visited Spears' home to talk about the incident at the request of county child welfare authorities. The paparazzi also clapped back at the claims and said they were not threatening her in any way. The photo agency said, quote, "These pictures were taken in a very peaceful context in which photographers exhibited no aggressive behavior." Halfway number 5, the family's Hollywood team made all the decisions. Although we are putting most of the blame on the conservatorship on Britney's father Jamie, which should be the case, we need to discuss the role that Hollywood executives had in it too. These executives also made a lot of family decisions during Jamie Lynn's unexpected teen pregnancy. This is the reason that Britney's made a point to talk about the bad job done by her previous lawyers, along with the manipulation by Lou Taylor, who was Britney's business manager at the time of her conservatorship. It is widely believed that Taylor was the real architect of the conservatorship and gave Jamie the tools he needed to control Britney's life. Jamie Lynn herself even questioned who made a lot of the decisions during her time pregnant. Jamie Lynn also stated that the media has been twisting a lot of the quotes that the sisters have said, and the media are the ones putting the wedge between the whole family. In at number 4, almost dropped her son. This was another incident back in 2006 involving her newborn son. Only a week after the incident where she was caught driving with the baby on her lap, she tripped while walking in Manhattan and almost dropped her son, Sean Preston. She was leaving the Ritz-Carlton holding a drink in her right hand and Sean in her left as she maneuvered through the crowd of onlookers. Britney moved through the crowd and then she suddenly tripped. The baby's head then went backward as the hat flew off his head. Britney regained her balance and the baby seemed okay thanks to a quick reaction from the bodyguard. To make matters worse, it didn't look like she spilled a drop of the drink that she was holding in her other hand. It was reported that days later she had a breakdown over the incident. Since 2 of these similar incidents with her son happened so closely together, her parenting skills were further scrutinized by the public. In at number 3, attacks paparazzi with umbrella. One of Britney's worst moments in the press was in 2007 when she attacked a paparazzi with a green umbrella because she was so mad over all the attention she was getting. At this time, Britney was clearly going through a lot. She had just shaved her head in front of the public. It was all anyone was talking about. Britney was begging to be left alone and deal with her issues while not getting bombarded with paparazzi. But obviously that did not happen and she was hounded more than ever. At the time, her paparazzi attack became so famous that a Florida morning radio host even used photos from her breakdown on his Total Nutjobs billboards. Months after the incident, she apologized in a bizarre statement, writing, quote, "I apologize to the pop for a stunt that was done 4 months ago regarding an umbrella. I was preparing my character for a role in a movie where the husband never plays his part, so they switch places accidentally. I take all my roles very seriously and got a little carried away. Unfortunately, I didn't get the part." In at number 2, screaming at Sam Lufty. Sam Lufty is one of the most controversial people in the world of Britney Spears, and her entire family blames Sam for her eventual downfall in 2007. In 2008, the pair got in a screaming match over Britney's boyfriend at the time, paparazzo Adnan Ghalib, and this was one of many of their public fights back then. Apparently Britney and Sam got in a huge fight and Britney refused to go into his house, so she called her boyfriend, Anand Galib, to come get her at Sam's house. He came right over, but when he got there, Sam would not let him get Britney. The guards were under strict orders from Sam not to let him in. He tried calling each of her 6 cell phones and the house phone, but she did not answer. Years later, Britney would get restraining orders from both Sam Lutfi and Anand Galib. And finally, number 1, her career was almost threatened. Back in the 90s when Britney was becoming a star, there was a man in the shadows of all the most famous boy bands who ended up scamming all of them. The man was named Lou Pearlman, and he created both the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC. He wanted Spears to join a girl group that he had been working on, but she was more set on being a solo artist at the time. Thankfully, she didn't want to be in a girl group, or she would have been working with Pearlman when the members of the boy bands realized that they were being scammed. He was later sued for fraud and misrepresentation by most of the pop acts that he worked with, on top of being behind one of the largest Ponzi schemes in history, and the members of the boy bands only received a fraction of the money that he owed them.